Hello, my name is Saloon and I want to invite you to my journey from 0 to 3000 Raider IO score as a Mistweaver Monk. Why am I going as a healer? Because I'm a masochist who enjoys pain. Because I love World of Warcraft. The Keystone Legend mount this time around looks a lot cooler than in Season 2. Although it's still only a recolor, I feel a bit more motivated to go for it this time. I decided to make an episode 0 to showcase how easy it is to return to the game if you haven't played in a while. As you can see, I'm going to start out on 614 item level, which is quite low at this point. I'm wearing Season 1 gear as I played this character briefly back then. I got myself 2 agility weapons and swapped to Windwalker because I do not want to quest as a healer. If you've unlocked the first 3 chapters before, you can skip the story forward after activating the portal to Tazavesh. Omen will have the option to skip as you arrived. You auto-accepted a quest called A Skip Through the Void, which leads you to the small island where you can get the Reshi wraps for your alts. Once you arrive there, speak to Hashim and tell him you need a new cloak, and it's done. Don't forget to put the talent points in and buy a fiber socket. I am not going to do this on my monk, however, because the first 3 chapters provide you with a full set of 642 item level gear. On top of that, if you're returning and don't know what you're doing, or if you're like me who wants to play only healer on a given character, but you don't want to quest as one, then the 1-button rotation assistant is great. I never played Windwalker, but questing will be much easier as one. I wouldn't really recommend it in dungeons or raids personally, because it often uses AoE abilities on single target or vice versa, so it's not optimal in my opinion, but for quests, killing rares and work content in general, it's great. After I was finished with the campaign for now, I picked up some weekly quests and hit tier 8 delves to stack my vault with heroic loot. I had to do 8 in total. I did the first one as Windwalker and then the rest as Mistweaver to practice and get used to the feeling of when people drop from 100 to 10% HP within a second, as Bran was really good at that. I set him as a tank and used the mana tinted glasses and his combat curio. This gives Bran a stacking kiss curse effect. After 10 stacks, which seem to be the max for now, he deals 40% more damage, but takes 50% increased damage. You can dispel this effect, although it doesn't show up as such on my frames, at least, but it gets automatically dispelled if he drops below 30% health. I don't think I ever dispelled him, mainly because once he loses this debuff in combat, he won't regain it until he re-enters combat. So you want to keep this going as long as possible. I only failed keeping this up sometimes on the Nemesis packs because those hit like a fridge door in your face. The utility curio was the temporal decelerator crystal to give me haste, which is my best stat. It was slower as a healer, but safer. I think I died only once when Bran went too big, which happens sometimes. He just randomly runs off, doesn't stop pulling. Think of it as a pug tank simulator. I got a couple upgrades from the Delves as they have a small chance to drop adventurer gear. I got an unused trinket that increases my lowest secondary stat, or the highest if I target an ethereal, and a 2-hand intellect staff, and a verse mastery ring. Before heading into Mythic Zeros, I completed some weekly quests, and the first 2 chests gave veteran pieces. From one I got a belt, which is useless because we have to wear the Delve belt. Great start. The other item was another verse mastery ring. Afterwards it was time for dungeons. Right off the bat, this tank pulls big. Good that Bran prepared me for this, but I'm barely keeping everyone alive. I used every cooldown I had for this one singular pull. This did not fill me with confidence, but unfortunately our tank keeps going big, and once again I struggle a lot. But this time I panicked so much I didn't press my cooldowns and we vibed. I honestly could have played this a lot better, but I don't know this pack very well yet. I played Mistweaver a little bit in Season 1, only with guildies, and I made it way back in Warlords of Draenor when it had still cheap points, so it's changed a ton since then. I used to hard avoid this pack for many years because the Fistweaver playstyle, as people like to call it, scared me off big time. Fist weaving basically just means that you're healing by doing damage, which about 10 years ago was very fluctuating in viability. Sometimes it was good, but you needed very specific talents, stats and items to make it work, and other times it was just straight up bad. Blizzard, however, tweaked a lot and kind of pushed Mistweaver more and more into this playstyle. As you can see in this dungeon, I'm really struggling with that playstyle for now, but honestly at the beginning of Season 2 I remember I was struggling on my Holy Paladin as well. Everything felt incredibly hard to heal at first, so I'm not too worried, I just need to get good, you know? After the first boss, the tank went to the right side and I was mentally not prepared for the double bodyguard insect swarm combined with the uninterrupted revolting volley just blew us up. Needless to say, we eventually vibed to this and the tank left. We got a replacement fairly quickly, thankfully, so we soldiered onwards. The pools were just as big and messy, but at least the prop paladin was interrupting a lot of stuff by default, so that alone took off a lot of pressure, so I was able to keep up the group more reliably. On the second boss, I was hella confused, because I don't think he used to move during the intermission, but I could be misremembering. I thought he just stands in one spot, doing frontal on the tank while we dodge the circles. I don't remember the entire safe zone moving with him, so I thought that was odd. But I'm an old hag, so who knows, might be just my memory. Well, I got rewarded for my efforts with at least 2 items from this run, so this was what my item level looked like after the first dungeon, and all the delves and weekly quests and upgraded items. I'm at 667 item level already. Considering I just started out on 614, I'd say this is not bad at all. The next dungeon, Floodgate, was almost a night and day difference because it felt a lot easier. I'm not sure why, maybe these guys just simply played better, maybe I was playing better, who knows. I did have a silly death towards the end though. Oh, whoops! I just wanted to get to the boss and I thought it'll be fine, but I guess it wasn't. Loot-wise, I got shoulders from the first boss with pretty decent stats. In Halls of Atonement, we kinda had a tank who pulled a lot of unnecessary stuff, as if we were in an actual Mythic Plus key. I found it mildly annoying. At one point, the hunter made us go back for some extra trash, and at that point I couldn't help myself but just mention that we are not in Mythic Plus yet. The tank said sorry, and I said no worries with a laughing emote, so it's all good. The trash after the third boss is the single worst trash Blizzard has ever designed. It's insanely annoying with the mobs widespread, and then you get to fixate on occasion, some big red circle and everything, and even after we kill the main guy, the ghosts stay alive and keep me in combat. The warrior refused to release or couldn't for some reason, so we are wasting a crazy amount of time clearing this room. On the last boss, we even managed to vibe, unfortunately, because one statue was unsoaked and it does so much damage. But I also fumbled on the cooldowns to be fair, so yeah, we go down, we go again. I got basically nothing out of this dungeon because I looted a warbound plate chest, so nothing for the monk. Next I did a Dawnbreaker where I looted an offhand which I can't use for now, and the Meraldar Stole Trinket, which on use deals a bit of damage and gives versatility to the whole party. We have a brand new dungeon this season called Ecodom Aldani. I'm not sure what to think, to be honest. I only did this dungeon once before recording this run, so I can't really comment confidently on what's going on here, but the first boss seems to be this big worm who summons ads and puddles and tries to eat us. And the ad's in an intermission phase, but we have to stop that, of course. And that's about it for now. The second one is this dude riding a lizard. Two people get big circles and then get impaled by a javelin that won't let them leave out of the circle. And once you step into it, you can't leave either until you kill the javelin. Then someone gets targeted by a beam occasionally. And then we have an intermission which concerns me a bit. People get targeted by beams and they have to pop these balls around the boss, aiming the beams onto them. I as a healer wasn't targeted, but I can't tell if that's by design or coincidence. Either way, this kinda sucks for me, because I want to be in melee hitting the boss while healing, but I kinda can't. So I'm not sure how am I going to deal with this in the future, to be honest. Between the second and the last boss trash, there are these pylons. If we channel them to 100%, we get a damage buff, which I think is pretty cool. This group saved it for the last boss, which I thought was a smart idea. The last boss is quite interesting. Basically, all you need to do is to pick up your character's copy while you dodge a mechanic. The first one will be standing in a line. You just run through it and don't stand in the line. The other one will spawn circles on everyone and you have to pick up your own copy before spreading out. The third one happens during the intermission, where you have to pick up 3 copies and avoid the frontals. I messed this up because I didn't realize the frontal changed, so I waited too long to get my last copy. This doesn't look difficult, but if you add annoying affixes into the mix, especially the balls you have to soak from the others, and the CC one that spawns in a ton of nameplates, I imagine those will make this fight a lot more intense. These are probably famous last words, but I really like this boss fight. I like that you have to soak for yourself and not the whole group. Only you get punished if you mess up. I got shoulders from the last boss, but I already got one earlier, so it wasn't needed. The last dungeon I recorded was Priory, but honestly nothing worth mentioning happened in this dungeon, plus we'll see it from a Mythic Plus perspective soon anyway. I got the crit verse necklace out of it. Tazavesh is not open during the first week, so this is it. I'll do the last 2 dungeons for the vault, but they won't give me anything, so I'm not going to record it unless something crazy happens. I did 2 more delves after the dungeons. I got a one-hand intellect weapon and a leech trinket. After everything I've done, I upgraded and I ended up on 676 item level. This was done across 2 days and honestly could push the item level even further, but I don't think it's needed. That marks the end of this episode 0. Think of it as a prelude episode, I guess. I just mainly wanted to showcase to anyone who's been maybe sitting on the fence, thinking about starting to play in Season 3 but have not played in a while, holds them back. Well, as you can see, it's pretty easy to catch up, so I'd say go for it. I hope you enjoyed this prelude episode to my Keystone Legend series. Make sure to comment, like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in episode 1, I hope. Bye bye!